Hey, hi, hello, how are you? I'm Pia and today I'm going to be doing my November TBR. So during the month of November, I'm going to be participating in NaNoWriMo, otherwise known as National Novel Writing Month. So basically, I'm going to be devoting a lot of my time to writing my novel. I picked out a few books that I hope to get to, and I decided that for this month, I'm actually going to be solely doing rereads. I posted a video a little while ago of all the books that I really want to get to rereading wise, and I thought November would be the perfect month to do so that I'm not getting my head clogged with all these stories and accidentally writing someone else's entire work as my own. So I thought it would be really fun and a great opportunity to reread some of my favorites. The first book that I want to reread is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is the first Taylor Jenkins Reid on this list. Spoiler, there's gonna be another one. I listened to this on audio and I have just been dying to reread it physically just so I can annotate it, and there are some really great quotes, and I just feel like I'm kind of getting a little fuzzy on the story, and I just loved this story so much. I mean, I definitely recommend the audio book. I would love to reread it again, get invested in these characters. I feel like just because I do read so much and so frequently, my brain just kind of needs to glaze over some of the stories that I read because there are just so many in my brain that I'm forgetting some of the things, and I really just want to dive into this. I've been so obsessed with like the 70s style, fashion, music, everything, and I just really want to dive into this book again. Next up, I'd really like to reread It's Kind of a Funny Story by Ned Vizzini. This is one of my all-time favorite books that I've actually never reread, and this was one I read back in 2015. I think there might even be a video back from 2015 when I read this book. It might be in a favorites video back when I was a booty guru. I read this and absolutely enjoyed it. It's about a main character, Craig, who lives in New York, and he is very stressed all the time and has depression, and one day he decides that he is going to jump off a bridge, but instead he plans it all out, but instead he checks himself into a hospital and stays there and gets rehabilitated, and it just sheds really good light on getting help and talking to people, therapy and medicine and all those sorts of things. I really enjoyed my time reading this when I did read it like 4 years ago, so I really want to see how it holds up, if it's still one of my favorite books and all that jazz. The next book I really want to reread is Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I love this book. I read this for the first time sophomore year, so about 2 years ago. I read it again maybe last year, annotated the heck out of it, of course, and I just really would like to read it again. I'm actually thinking about reading it in Italian this time because I do have my Italian version that I bought when I was in Italy, and I haven't read this yet. And it's November, it's the 1-year anniversary of when I went to Italy and bought these books in Italian, so I should probably read them. Next up, I want to reread a book that I read relatively recently. I think I read this in July, I want to say, and that is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. You've heard about this book, so I'm not gonna like drone on about the plot, but I just wanted to say that I really loved it. I read it at camp, which was like so bad. Oh my god, I just fell in love with this. It was so heartwarming and so sweet, but also had such deeper themes going on. Honestly, I've been missing these characters, I've been missing the plot, I've been missing some good romance, because I've been reading some romance and it's just like not been that good, but like this is like the best romance of all time. Next up, I really want to reread Starry Eyes by Jen Bennett. I read this in June, May, somewhere. I had pink hair, it was a time. I read this and it was so surprising to me that I absolutely adored this book, so I didn't even annotate it, I didn't even think about it, I just like went through it. I think I read it in a 24-hour readathon as well. It was just so fantastic. Like, these characters, every character that Jen Bennett creates is utterly different than every other character I've ever read from, and they're so perfect and beautiful and flawed and gorgeous and intriguing and so flippin' good. This has a great romance, which I love. I just need I need Jen Bennett's like male characters to exist in real life so that I can date them and not just have to live out my fantasies from reading these. Not fantasies, not gross fantasies, guys. Calm down, get your mind out of the freaking gutter. Next up, similarly, I really would like to reread You'd Be Mine by Erin Hahn. I read this in May. I read this for the Buzzword Readathon and didn't think anything of it, just listened to the audiobook and fell in love with it. This is basically like a country version of Daisy Jones and the Six, and I adored it. And it's super short and super fun. Has some dark elements as well. Gorgeous love story on the open road about country singers, and it's just so cute. We're getting to the end now, but I really want to reread Looking for Alaska by John Green. I read this for the first time. I thought I read it 5 years ago, but I will retract that by saying I read this in 2016, and then I read it again last last year, I want to say. Anyway, it's been a while since I've read this. I did annotate it. But since the Hulu series came out and since I've watched it twice already, I really want to read this book again. It's one of my all-time favorite books. It's so trashy and so good, but also so meaningful. I don't know, this really meant a lot to me when I read it. A lot of these books I'm talking about, besides the one that I've read recently, are ones that really got me into reading, really made me enjoy reading. I was like, whoa, this is a thing I could do and have a fun time rather than reading, like, I don't fucking know, like Alice in Wonderland and like wanting to die. So I loved this. It deals with such important themes about teenagehood, and I think the adaptation was great. My review already went up. I don't know, I can't get enough of the story. Like, I've read this twice, I've seen the series twice. I think I should read it again. This is another book I want to read in Italian because I have the Italian version. This is the 10th anniversary edition, actually. Is this a deleted scene? Shook. The last book that I would like to reread this month is going to be The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. What can I say about Evelyn Hugo that hasn't already been said? I loved this book. This may or may not be my favorite book I read this year. It destroyed me, it broke me, it fixed me, it did so many things right. I'm absolutely obsessed with this. I want to reread it to solidify my place now that it's getting towards the end of the year and end of the year videos will start happening. I fell in love with this story. I can't even express it. Like, this is such a good book. I can't believe I didn't read it sooner, but I am so excited to be with these characters again, be with Evelyn Hugo. Reading it physically, there's nothing like it. Alright guys, so that's all for this TBR video. I hope I get to some of these books this month, but as I already said, this is not going to be my top priority. I'm just so excited to read these books I absolutely loved. Like, there's something amazing about rereads because you know in some way that you're gonna love them because you've already, like, you know what's gonna happen, and even though it's not surprising or anything like that, it's just like, I'm a nerd. That's all for this video. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!